Hello everyone, welcome to the first and new session of Odoo Insider. This time, for the first time, it's only text in the live. We have Armin here. He's a developer from our department, PS Tech. Armin, can you maybe introduce yourself and present what PS Tech is?
Hello, I'm Armin. Well, nice to meet you digitally, I guess. Today we would like to give you a look into how OWL works and also the JavaScript part of Odoo mainly. So in PS Tech, what we mainly handle is customizations. So Odoo is good enough for a company. It gives them like 80% of what they need, but they miss that crucial 20%. That's where we come in, and we make that extra 20% happen for them so they can have Odoo at 100%.
All right, perfect. And what will you show to us today?
All right, well, we have a bunch of stuff that we want to show you, but mainly I want to focus on OWL because, well, I don't know if you know or not, we already have a technical training regarding Python, but I'm currently working on creating one for OWL as well, because I feel like most people who do customizations for Odoo, they don't use JavaScript that much. What they do is just they try to stick to Python because it's something that we have like more documentation on, or maybe it's been used more. So we would like to explore a few perhaps widgets which are mainly coded in JavaScript, and then use them on the views in Python. We could plug them into maybe sale order or somewhere.
Yep.
That everywhere, yeah. So it should be fine.
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know if there was some questions from last time where Antoine was here. I guess if they were functional, they will be for next time, because can you show the page on LinkedIn?
Sure.
It's on the second tab.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just as a reminder, Antoine is not here. We're still doing the Odoo Insider. For the news, next year we will start with a new time frame. We'll start at 9:30 instead of 10. And we had a couple of special guests in the last couple of weeks. Last week it was Maxime and Greg, our two project managers, project director of the MMC department. Today it's us. Next week it's Antoine and Pierre, HR expert. And then Antoine will come back, answer your questions, and yeah, we go back to the usual Q&A, but with the new timing. So instead of being from 10 to 12, it will be from 9:30 to 11:30. But yeah, that's it.
All right, very nice.
Maybe one question that is here that you could
Sure.
answer.
Cannot really see it.
So is how Odoo going integrate AI? I mean, we need AI assistant for Odoo documentation. So we actually do have a integration for ChatGPT. So you can actually use ChatGPT to write in the Knowledge app, and also like if you have like a general like a big text editor, you do have that available as well. Let's see. I'm not entirely sure if on my local I have access to that. So, well, maybe we showed it at the end. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
maybe we can. Yeah.
But it's quite easy.
Yeah.
So
But in general, I think that Odoo tries to add AI where AI is useful more than
True.
We are not really riding the AI wave if not needed. For example, as Armin was saying, in the Knowledge app is useful because you can maybe rewrite a piece of text so that it's more readable. But in some cases, we don't use it. Could be maybe a feature in Odoo 19. Who knows? Is it in the part of the roadmap?
I mean, what are actual use cases for AI in Odoo? You know, like okay, it helps you like write up something that you want to send, maybe an
Yeah.
email, maybe like an article that other people need to read. But overall, I would say, yeah, most people are just plugging in AI wherever they can without it actually having a proper use there. They just want to, as you said, ride the wave instead of actually using the technology.
Yep.
All right. I guess we could start. So the first thing we could show, I guess, is this thing right here. So this is the normal sailor that you all know and love.
There's another question that I read that could be interesting. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sure.
Can we add ChatGPT model in Odoo as a help bot?
Absolutely. I mean, ChatGPT does have a like an API. So if you have that, you can easily use that in anywhere in Odoo. You can both use it in JavaScript and also use it in Python. Of course, on the JavaScript side, it's on the front end, so you would be leaking your API key, which is not a very good idea. But yeah, absolutely, you can send requests normally from Odoo as well. So if you can basically connect to ChatGPT just as well as you can use any other API.
Yeah. So I hope that Amirtis answered your question. If it didn't, well, we can
circle back to that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So as I was saying, so what we wanted to show is like, you know how mostly when we want to present information, especially even in our customizations, when somebody asks us, okay, can I like have this data visualized, we usually give them something like this. So give them like a table with a bunch of numbers. And that's not always the best idea, like the best thing to actually show to people. So here we have created like a widget which shows a pie chart of the composition of sail order lines. So Emanuele, how would you like to change the lines to change the pie chart?
I would try to add a line with the architect product, if we have it. Okay, we don't have it. Can you create a new product maybe?
Sure.
Just need to
architect.
Create an edit. Yeah. Let's say that we have like an architect and is timesheeting somewhere. So
it's a service.
Yeah, it's a service, and we should change the unit of measure of the product. I guess it's in attributes and variants or somewhere down there. No, maybe we need to activate the inventory app.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Let's go and do that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So very easy. You go here, search for inventory. Let's see if it's there.
Yeah. In the meantime, while you install the app, I will maybe answer or try to answer I guess a feedback from Ferry Kluger that I think is referring to using the AI, and they say answer questions specific to your DB, sales made, transaction with certain issues, finding anomalies quickly, so on and so forth. I guess that's a perfect use case, but I wonder if it's something that we could really do inside of standard, because maybe your definition of what is an issue in your transaction is different than someone else. Maybe the anomalies are different. And for example, for the sales made, you can still use any reporting tool that exists in Odoo, or even take your data and put it outside of Odoo. That's something that you could do. And if it if it's something that you might need, I would probably develop something from scratch for your use case, where you can really define, train a model based on your data, so that it will be really tailor-made for your use case.
Very nice.
All right.
So
The module is now installed, right?
inventory app is installed. Yup. And is the unit of measurement in inventory though?
That's a good question. I don't know.
So
Should be there.
that's actually a nice segue into showing, I guess, the code itself. So obviously you have two tools to actually check where each field is. So one is the technical menu, which you can activate with settings, going into the developer mode and either enabling developer mode with either normally or through assets. So if I go here and activate it, I have access to the developer mode and also the technical menu. Now, not sure if that many people use it, but here is a very nice place to actually check where everything, like which fields are where and stuff like that. So let's say I want to check where UOM-ID, which is a field in the model, is. So I'm going to say the field is called UOM-ID, and the model is actually sale order. So that's, I'm sorry, the product, right? So the model is product. So I'm going to search that, and I can see that it's right there. It's from a related model is UOM. Let's see if we can add some custom fields. So that's the unit of measurement. So it should be there. Let's duplicate it and check.
There's a question maybe in the meantime
Sure.
from Ilgar, where they are asking if we can modify JavaScript code in Odoo Online. Yes, no, and if yes, why?
Yes, you can modify JavaScript code and also templates in SAS, or as you put it, Odoo Online. So the main difference we have between Odoo SH and Odoo Online is that in Odoo Online we cannot override Python functions, basically. So that's usually our cutoff point to move someone to SH or not. JavaScript code and views, like XML views, all of that are fair game. So I would say yes, absolutely. You can modify and also like add new JavaScript code as you please to your Odoo Online instance.
Amazing. Thank you, Armin.
You're welcome. All right, so let's go back to our quotation. Where is the... So, let's add... So, we're... Okay, no worries. We'll change the way we work. So, let's take a look at inside the code itself. I guess that would be easier, or perhaps we could change it to work with something other than UOM, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
it's easier.
Yeah, because let's say we are technical people, not functional. So at the top of my head, I don't exactly remember where UOM is. Maybe the chat could help us out.
Yeah, maybe.
So it says activated from inventory and configuration. Yeah,
okay,
that's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So configuration.
So I guess that from there you can go in the
inventory app. Yeah.
I mean,
we have packages, warnings.
Unit of measure. All
There it
right.
is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's when like people like Antoine are helpful during the
Yes.
lab, because they know the answer to
They
this
know
thing
where everything
immediately.
is. Yes.
So that's good. Thanks for your help.
Yep. So we have the unit of measurement now, courtesy of our chat. Thank you very much. So now that we have the unit of measurement, what we want to do, so what this graph effectively shows, as you can see in the legend here, so it says units. So right now, every single sale order line that we have are based on the unit of measurement units. So what we can do is maybe like add a new product, as Emmanuel had put it, architect, and then change their unit of measurement to, let's say, dozens. We're going to save.
refresh the view because
and refresh it.
I didn't make it very reactive.
That's
but
all right. So now it loaded the new data, which was these sale order lines, and now the composition of the pie chart has changed. So now we have 4 units and 1 dozen of product. So obviously this is just a way to just show that, yeah, we can use charts and how we can plug it in, and of course we are going to go inside the code.
Yep.
But basically,
we have another question in the
sure,
meantime.
yeah, I
Sorry,
can see it.
Armin, how many percent customizes the standard? I guess how much we customize standard. For example, in our country run, the standards is different. In your opinion, we write new module or customize it. We need shipping and logistic or guarantee module, but
Or doesn't support variables. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say usually what we try to do is to use standard as much as possible. This is something that I usually tell people when I go to give them like technical trainings, like for partners or companies that they want to create their own modules of Odoo or extend it. First, try to understand what Odoo has to offer. So basically, even if you like not sure, you could always open a ticket and with like functional support to see, does a certain functionality exist or not? If it does, I would highly suggest to extend that instead of like going your own way. We had an instance of a partner who I believe spent like millions of euros developing on Odoo, and all that they had done was reinventing the wheel. So we had like access rights, we had like, I don't know, like a bunch of like very core functions that we had spent probably a decade to perfect. They came in and ignored that, instead created their own, and at the end, it was not even working.
No.
So it's always a good idea to build upon Odoo, because that way you are using the effort of like thousands of people who are developing, so it would be cheaper for you. And the only, I would say, instance that you want to like create a completely new module is that the same flow, not even like the flow that looks like it, doesn't exist in Odoo. That's the only instance I would say that you could use. You could like create
Absolutely.
a new module. Yeah.
This is very important, especially if you want to maybe go on and upgrade your client or yourself from one version to the other. The less code you have, the more you can rely on the standard upgrade script. So it makes it very easy on you to go from one version to the other, and it makes it very fast, so you can keep up to date with the newest features, newest security updates, and so on and so forth. So yeah, try to keep it to the bare minimum.
Yep, that's it. And that's actually a very good point. Upgrade, you have to keep that as well. And the customization that you make, you actually have to document them thoroughly, write tests for them, try to make them, well, basically easy to upgrade, because otherwise you will be stuck in the same version probably for an extended period of time.
Yeah. And then Ilgar on Twitch is asking how to become an Odoo developer. Is there any free official tutorials for partners? There is something. There is on the documentation you will find the developer tutorial that we basically follow. There's also that video that.
So if you search Odoo technical training, what you will see here is I would say, a very good segue into Odoo development. So it's about 22 hours, 24 hours
Yep.
or so. So of course you will have access to the videos for free. There are exercises that you will need to have a pack for, if I'm not
Exactly.
mistaken. So even if you don't are not a customer of Odoo, you just want to get into Odoo development, I would say it's a very good segue into it. Of course, this does not cover everything, but it does cover enough for you to get started.
And that's where your course on JavaScript will basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the point of the new OWL tutorial is to basically continue the work here. Of course, this course here kind of follows the tutorial, the existing tutorial in the documentation. The new OWL tutorial, however, will be a bit different, because I've basically coordinated with the core JavaScript team here in Belgium at Odoo. And what we are trying to do is to create a course that actually gives you a good understanding of how JavaScript framework works and how you can actually utilize it to your advantage.
Yes. And the documentation that you can find on odoo.com/documentation is basically the same one that we follow as developers when we are onboarded.
Absolutely, yes. Of course, for JavaScript, there is also the documentation on GitHub.
Yes,
So
that's
some people,
which
I
is very
guess.
good.
So yeah, so this is like the OWL docs, which is in Odoo/OWL. So OWL has its own repository. In Odoo, so it's separate from the Odoo code base. Odoo uses OWL just as it uses many other libraries. It is our in-house JavaScript framework. And here at its doc directory, you can see a comprehensive documentation. Of course, always check whether you're on the correct branch here, because like if you're like another branch, like we have a bunch of developments going on other branches, so you might not see the latest information if you're on there. But yeah, here I would say it's a very good segue into how to use OWL, basically.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, this is sorry, Armin, to
No worries,
there's
it's okay.
Plenty of questions.
It's good.
There's one from Saliha, and they are asking, I want to create a new model based on an existing model project, but I don't want the data from the new model to appear in the original project model. I guess that they want to have the same fields as project, but a new model. How would you
Yes.
do it?
So if you want to create a new model based on an existing model, but you actually don't want to like put it there, let's see if I can use a visual tool here. This is my go-to, like.
So
Alright,
you're not
let's see.
an Excalibur guy.
No, I mean, when they buy me the premium, like for the VAs, I will use Excel. So in Odoo, we have plenty of ways to actually do basically inheritance. I like to think of it as composition, but I mean, it's kind of in between, I would say. So let's say you have project, right? Let's see if I can increase the there it is. Bear with me in a sec. So you have project. Now let's say I want to extend a project, right? If I want to add to it, what I would use is to use inherit. So if you have done Odoo development, basically what you would do will be adding, you're saying inherit, for example, project, which is the name of the model, and that would take care of inheriting, like adding what you have or overriding the existing. However, if you give the project also, like when you're inheriting, also give it a name, you will be creating a whole new model. So let's say I'm gonna copy and see. Yeah, I don't have a mouse, so it's a bit hard here. Okay, Control C and Control V, which is copy pasta. So if I inherit from project, but also define a name for it as well, let's say my project, this will take everything in the original definition of the project and then add what you have here. But if you access project.project, you will not see your fields or methods. However, if you access my project, you will see the stuff that were copied from the project, and then also your own methods or fields.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah.
If I can add to this one, maybe if I wouldn't honestly just do this for project, because then you have the one-to-many with the project task and so on and so forth. I would maybe try to create a subset of fields that you really need for your model and maybe create them from scratch, because
Yes.
you don't, if it's not a project, why would you inherit from project itself? But
That's
I mean,
true.
that's how you do it. That's how you
Yes, that's how you do it. But as Emanuele put it, and as we have mentioned before, it's best to extend standard as much as you can for various reasons that we talked about.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Armin.
All right. So, yeah, we talked about the documentation and also the AL docs. So let's get back to our example,
Yeah.
but if there are any questions, we can answer them as well. So I think there is one, right? Or is there no other questions?
Not for now. We can go
Okay.
on.
All right. So yeah, so we created a chart basically to show the composition of our order lines. Now, obviously, this might or might not be useful in your business flow, but it's just to give you a basically a feel on how we can add JavaScript even in like the normal backend, which is like the form view or tree view or Kanban. So let's take a look at the code quickly. So we have here, this is the JavaScript part. So usually the composition of a module, an Odoo module is as such. So you have models, and then you have the static directory, which gives you the static files that are served from the Odoo's web server. And then you have the views, which are the backend views, manifest and init file. If you have done Odoo developments, you will know what they are. So manifest gives us basically a manifest of the module that we're creating. So you have the name, the version, which right now we are on version 18, the dependencies, and in the data, we have to give it the views of the sale order. Then we have a description of what it does, the author, which is apparently your name, and the website. Now, to import JavaScript, what we use are basically, you could call them assets or bundles. So if you quickly look at the documentation for assets, you can see that we have a bunch of, so this is a page you can look at to understand a bit more about assets. So we have assets and we have bundles, and you can put your files into one of the bundles to load them in the proper place. So here, because we are using, we are inserting our JavaScript in the backend, what we will be doing is importing them inside the assets backend bundle. So this will give us access to the files that are inside that we have imported basically on the backend. Then we can take a look at the template. So templates are a bit different. We have a bunch of more other stuff. Some things are different, which when we are doing like a live example, maybe we can talk more about. So here basically for our pie chart, it's a simple, actually that's the location one. Yeah, okay. So that's another example. But for our graph, for the graph
It's
order one, yeah, it's just a canvas. So it's just a canvas, and we give it a reference using this directive to be able to actually use it on our JavaScript file. And here we use the same like a hook to use the canvas itself, which is like this is what we have defined in our template, and then this holds the reference to that canvas. And using that, we are actually using the chart.js. So this comes with standard Odoo. We have not imported a third-party library. However, it is entirely possible to do that as well. So instead of here going like web static library chart.js, if you add something here, you could go with like sale order graph static library and then add your own library. So in Odoo, you're not bound to only the things that we bundle together with Odoo. You can add as many libraries as you want. Of course, don't break too many eggs. So you have in the JavaScript, it's very simple. We're using like a third-party library to render the chart. So this will be the method that renders the chart. And then you have like the load graph data, which uses the ORM to actually get the information on the sale order lines. And then you have basically you're making the chart, we're basically rendering the chart. So we're using the data of the, so I'm not going to go too much into this because it's a bit, I would say, complicated, but just wanted to give you like a overall view on how things work.
So there's a funny question where they asked, where is Amy Caroline?
Well, that's a heavy question. What can I say? Do you want to take this one?
Yes. Well, as far as I know, she's not working at Odoo anymore. But yeah, she's still in the videos. So
Yeah, that's
I
true.
know why. I can tell you.
Okay.
can you?
Yeah, she was not fired. She just pursued the dream of her boyfriend or husband to
Okay.
move back to the US because he wanna live the US dream.
Ah, okay.
Ah,
So
the American dream.
yeah.
Nice.
But she might join us back, but we don't know.
Oh.
We don't know.
And it's not certain.
So that's not the end of the Amy Caroline story arc. Might come back.
Could have a sequel, yeah. But I think I don't know if what were the videos that she was in. Were they like after or before you joined Odoo?
I think she did the videos before I joined Odoo.
But did you like get on board with those
Yes,
videos?
actually I did. Yeah,
Really?
because I started working at Odoo in 2020, and at the time we were already using those videos.
Okay.
And she was basically the onboarder of everybody at Odoo. And I guess that everybody that uses Odoo and goes into the odoo.com slides
Yes.
Up to Odoo 17.
up to the 17, yeah.
But not 18, unfortunately.
Podcast as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Very nice.
She was a host, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't get to work with her much, but I did get on board just as Amy
Yeah.
with her videos. So.
There's another question from Amir, and it's
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
Is saying, sorry Armin, and this is my last
it's
question. You can ask as many questions
Can
as you want.
yeah, that's okay.
I created a new module in Studio in Odoo 16. When I created, I know that Odoo Studio modules are not saved in the backend. Maybe I'm mistaken. Will we face any challenges in the next upgrade of Odoo?
Because out area can't use. Okay. Okay. So, what happens with Studio is usually, if you ask like PS Tech department in general, especially the developers, they will tell you like, don't use Studio bad. But the truth is that if you don't plan to like change the part that you're using, like you're changing with Studio, I would say it's fine.
Yes.
As for upgrade, usually if you're using like stock Studio, like the standard Studio, like doing anything like any shenanigans with the like the Studio customizations, I would say that your upgrade should go just fine. Again, it really depends on like how much are you breaking, like how much are you changing. It really depends on the context. But I would say in general, if you like stick to standard Studio customization, I would say it should be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Not
No?
for now. Maybe we'll see
Okay.
after.
Have you seen this one? I don't remember.
Didn't see.
Hoot on Odoo 18.
All right. That actually
Where?
is
I
a...
didn't see. Sorry. As it do. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So, Hoot. Let's talk about Hoot. That's also one of the things that we will be covering in my OWL training. So, before 18, what we had were tours. So, an example, if I could show you, is, let's say, so what you had to do, you had to define your tour and then start them using this start tour inside the tests inside the basically somewhere else. So the tours are being deprecated now. Why? Because they were I would say kind of a pain to deal with, especially like I remember like when you need to like create testing tours, they're a real pain, and still up to version 17, which most of our customers are still at those versions. We are still using tours, and they take a lot of time to create, debug, maintain, and Hoot basically aims to alleviate that pain so that we can just migrate everything to there. And it's like kind of like a jest syntax, which most people are familiar with. I think that's a very nice thing to... So if you're writing basically tests for version 18, I would definitely use Hoot instead of tours.
Yep.
So yeah.
There's a video that a colleague of ours did, Bastien. He did it during the Odoo experience of 2024, where he introduced how you can record tours in Odoo 18, but I couldn't find it. Maybe I'll find it and then send it to you in the
I
chat.
think this is the one. No, test your JS with
I
Hoot,
think
because
maybe
like
yes. Good.
before, so it was 2 months ago. So
Oh,
yeah,
no,
that's
not
it.
that's
That's
not
not
this
it?
one. Okay, well, yeah, there's probably a couple of talks about that, because I remember there was another one.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's a new toy, so everybody
Yeah.
wants to talk about them. But yeah, basically, if you check the Odoo 2024, like OXV 2024 videos, you should be able to find a talk that this like discusses about Hoots. So yeah, that was a very nice thing.
Yeah.
All right. So we checked kind of roughly what the graph order thing was, like how was it working, why was it working. So we also have another example here to show you. So it's like like a request that you recently had, right?
Yes. Basically, if I can just build up on that, there's we received this small request from a client where they wanted to be able to kind of geolocate where something happened, and they wanted to do it in the picking. I said, okay, that's actually interesting. I didn't do it in the picking. I did it in the cell order because, I mean, the other example was in the cell order. I just wanted to keep it there. So can you go in the sales app?
Absolutely.
And open any cell order. And now, if after we install the small module, if you scroll to the right, you see...
To the right?
Yeah, sorry, in the cell order line. You have to...
Okay.
Yes.
So it's...
Yeah, it's a little bit crowded.
So I'm
so
gonna take some stuff here
Yeah,
because I
good.
feel like I don't need basically any of these.
So yeah, you
Especially
see
not
that you have
taxes.
2 new fields, latitude and longitude. If you ask me which one is what in a map, I don't know. I don't remember.
Is it
now.
like longitude and latitude? No,
Maybe
I'm wrong.
maybe.
Okay.
But try to click on it.
All right. So if I click on this, basically, my browser is going to ask me for location. Now, I want to keep my privacy, but for this example, let's just go with
We
it.
will be DDoS from the office.
Yeah. So,
Okay, Sauno, you know where the Odoo office
so
is.
now you know. That's
Yeah,
dangerous.
that's
So-
So you see that we are at longitude 464 and 56.
So yeah, it's obviously rounded up, so I don't think like that's
No, it's
probably to
like-
the kilometer.
Exactly,
something like
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Probably should have used more digits for the float, but okay.
Yeah,
We don't want to dose ourselves too much.
that's true.
But in any case, we did this small module. Maybe can you go in the code? I'll just do a
Yeah.
very quick.
Absolutely.
So again, can you open the manifest? Even though you already showed it before, but
Yeah. So for the
it's
graph,
very similar. Huh?
so cell order location. First of all, so we call this cell order. So it starts with cell order. One hot tip is that don't start your module names with like something that exists in standard, because it's like makes it harder for you to find it. Usually for our customers, what we do is if we want to like create a module for them, it will be like the company name, and then the module name. So let's say we want to extend the sale order app for Odoo. So the module name in our case would be Odoo_sale. This will make everything a bit easier, especially because like imagine you're a partner or you want to do customizations for multiple people, and this allows you to keep everything separate. So let's say this company has a sales flow, this company has a sales flow, this other company also has a sales flow. So if you name everything sale_, you will be running out of names pretty soon. So yeah, here, as you can see, again, same thing. We have the web assets backend. We are importing the views, and in the template, it's a simple
Just a
button, nothing fancy, and the actual magic happens inside the JavaScript file.
This is can I?
Sure, of course.
So well, the template itself binds like an event listener to the method which I call, can you scroll down, on assign geolocation click. So when you click on it, this is called. We use the standard, completely standard. You can find it in the Mozilla documentation navigator API. So we use the navigator, geolocation, get current position, and then you need to pass a callback, and basically we'll receive as a parameter the coordinates, and well, we'll just take the coordinates, make a simple right call in the set coordinates function, and that's it. Very simple, very basic. And then we just ask to Odoo to please refresh the record.
Yes. So here, instead of like pressing F5 ourselves like cavemen, we are using something here that automatically does that for us.
Yeah. Sorry, Armin, there is a couple of questions from chat.
Mm-hmm.
Reading the Odoo release notes, I noticed that the database tables and field names that have been changed, added, or deleted are not listed. Do you have a document or web page that explain what has been changed and why? Specifically by looking at the database in PostgreSQL. Not really, because first of all, I think we, thank you, Michel, for your question. I don't know if it's pronounced Michael, sorry. First of all, we do not really have this type of documentation. We receive plenty of times the question, do we have any graph, any entity relationship graph that represents what I have in my database and the relationship between things? It's not so easy because some relationships are not defined in at the database level, because maybe you use a computed field that is not stored, so you will not see your field at the database level. And then the schema of the database really depends on the number of applications that you have. If you have for example, the French localization, you might have some fields like the Siré number, or the Italian one might have some other fields that are added. And then to give a comprehensive schema, you will need to basically install all the application, or to give the schema based on every application. You can, and I did it for one project of mine, build a simple AST parser that will just look into the old version of Odoo, the new version, and tries to match the field definition. I did it, it's not too complex, but we don't have it as a document. But we have our own upgrade repository where where the developers have to write migrations for every field that they remove, that they change, and that could kind of serve as the database schema changes documentation, but it's not available to the public. It's one of the few things that are kind of closed source, other than enterprise. I mean, these repositories even more closed than enterprise. But yeah, we don't have it available. You can use a AST parser to kind of do the difference between one version and the other. I hope this answers your question. Not available, unfortunately.
So at whatever platform you're watching, you can just ask questions in the chat. We have not provided like a pad or something, but even if you have any questions afterwards, you can shoot an email to Odoo.
Yeah. Thanks, Mohammad. And then, there's a bunch of questions. I can patch a function in JS that is not written in a class using patch method. A function that is not written in a class. So it's then you might be unlucky if that function is not exported. You cannot really patch it. So for example, let's say that there's a function that is a sum of two numbers, and you want to change it to be the multiplication of two numbers. If that function is not exported, so you don't have the export syntax before, you cannot really do it.
That's something actually we're really working on to. So basically, we're just talking about OWL here so far. The issue we have in Odoo, like at least in the JavaScript part, is that we have the web framework, which is in handling like the gets the data from the backend, from the server, shows it, like passes it to the higher levels or higher layers. So we have the web framework, and then we have OWL, which is basically component system. We do have some ancient JavaScript codes we have not yet upgraded. Every version we are upgrading them, like updating them, and then rewriting them in our modern framework. So these instances, like few and far in between, are unfortunate, but we are working on removing them completely. And the patch function is actually like a very, I would say, omnipotent function that it can basically patch many things with it. it's kind of magical in a way. In that way, it's not very good, I would say, because like you can pass whatever you want and you try to patch it. But still, I would say that when we do those changes, like finish up with those changes, you should be able to patch anything and everything, even in JavaScript.
Perfect. Then there's a question about what are the limits of Odoo Studio. Well, the limits are plentiful. You cannot really change, for example, standard fields with that. You cannot make a required field in standard not required using Studio. You can do plenty of stuff, creating automated actions, creating computed fields, changing views, changing PDF reports. You can do a lot of things with Studio. The limitations are more on the you cannot really change a flow of Odoo, and it's not as well documented as a proper module. So if you are working with any versioning tool like Git or anything else, and you can create your own module, that's the way to go, because Studio will not be documented in any way. So from my point of view as a developer, I would say let's have everything kind of documented so that one can go find where maybe something has been broken, or just understand how it goes, because with Studio you don't really know what has been done, when it has been done, and why it has been done like that.
So I believe somebody asked about Odoo certification. So we have both taken the certification.
Yes, I didn't
but
pass it.
Yeah, I think most developers don't pass it because like basically, as you said, even as you saw here today, we were struggling to find the UOM ID. So we know where it is, like how to change it, but that's why we usually work hand in hand with functional people for our customizations. Even sometimes I have like meetings with them just to say, okay, could you explain like this part of Odoo to me? How does it functionally work? And then I can take it from there and basically do the customization itself.
Then there's a question from Mohammed Damir, I guess.
Yes.
I'm sorry for the pronunciation. So the question is kind of long. They are asking, I want to create a medical clinic management app. Oh, it disappeared, the question. Okay. Okay, sorry, it disappeared from mine. Okay. The first requirement is that all doctors should not see all patients' partners. Is there any way to functionally limit internal users' access to partners? Is it a good idea to create a new module like web and limit access to partners? Is it a good idea to write a record rule for each doctor? Do you have any tips for a fork of web? I mean, I wouldn't fork web. You need to create a new module that might depend on web or on base, but writing record rules on partners is a very delicate topic. Maybe it's better to treat patients as not as partners, but as a new maybe concept that might be linked to partner, and just give access to your doctor to this new model. You can think of this new relationship as a kind of the product template and the product, where a product is linked to a product template immediately. So like a patient, as soon as you create it, creates a partner, but your doctors will be could be like a very limited group of users that can have access only to the patients, which is a new entity created from scratch. That will make it easier for you to create your record rules on, because limiting REST partners is difficult, because the consequences are very deep, because yourself, when you are a user in Odoo, you have a partner. If you limit and by mistake access right of a user to just a specific type of partners, you might limit access to yourself, kind of. So be careful with that. And also in general, for the medical healthcare world, the access rights and how to store the data are a very delicate topic. So be careful with that. If I was going to start it from scratch, I would just create a new entity, call it patient, then maybe work so that every time you create a patient, you also get a partner, and do not give access to the partner model to the doctors somehow. Maybe just limiting the menu items, which is not very safe, but that's the way to go probably.
Actually, I had like a recent customizations that they asked, like they had like commercial salespeople, And these commercial salespeople were only allowed to access certain parts, certain things, certain actions. They should not be able to, I'll do this, like copy that, see certain contacts. I think it took like upwards of 50 hours, something
Yes.
like that, because there was so much backend. And every time I urged them to fully test everything, because what if somewhere along the line something broke and a certain user doesn't have access to something that they should, or vice versa. So yeah, access rights, I would say, in general, security in Odoo is a delicate thing to touch. So you have to really be careful on how you change it.
Then I think that we are reiterating on the export. What if there is an export written before a function but not in a class? Then that means that you cannot export you cannot import the class, I guess. It's similar concept.
No, I maybe
maybe
it's something
misunderstanding
like
the question,
this, like export function, something like that. So basically, that's more of it like a JavaScript question, I believe. So export simply gives other files that import this file access to whatever you're exporting. You can export classes, you can export constant, you can export even like functions. So if here I can go with like export constant Armin, let's say 1. And that I can actually access it. If somewhere else I import this file, I can actually access this. But in Odoo's context, so for example, let's actually talk about how we're actually getting access to this, right? So here we are extending the existing component which comes from OWL, as you can see. And then what we do is we give it a template, which is here. So that template is actually, we're going to give it like the XML ID of the template to actually recognize it. Here we are giving it props from standard widget props. So this is actually inside the web framework. These are basically everything that you have for a normal field in Odoo. Whatever you see, like the text field, like the tree view, like everything that you have, like on its base has these standard widget props. And then at the end, what we're doing is exporting it like this, so that we have access to it here, and then registry, and we in the registry of web framework we register this component in the view widgets, which gives it access inside the backend views. So if I go here, the way we have actually sort of imported this is through this. Very simple. We say widget, and then name of that widget, which was as you saw here, so assign geolocation, and then that gives us access to the component.
Yeah.
So that's basically like you have JavaScript exports, which allows files to import them, and we have like the Odoo way of basically exporting stuff like this. So here we are exporting from internal libraries, and then we have the registry of the web framework, which allows us to basically like hold a key value to stuff that we want, so that it's easier for us to access them, and actually that's how like it parses it so that it can actually get access on the somewhere like the backend views, which obviously here you cannot import the JavaScript file. It's an XML file.
And there was a question about the application of Android and iOS. They said what technology we are using. It's just, I think, the most basic Swift or Kotlin app with just a web view of your database. So the only custom part is the login page, where you have to put the URL and login and password. And then the rest is just the web view of the browser. So the result of going on Chrome or on Safari, logging into your database, and then creating a web app on your home screen, it's the same as using the app from the App Store.
So it's basically a PWA. Actually, we're discontinuing the iOS and Android versions. We do have them, but not for the recent versions. So if you open it on any device, and on the top there's like in the menu, if you click that, you will see install. So that usually gives you access to. I'm not sure if it's available here, but on mobile devices definitely. So you go into the menu and see like there's an install. That basically creates a shortcut on your home screen. It doesn't actually like install anything on your phone. And on the flip side, you don't have to update it either.
Exactly. And maybe you might wonder, why do we have a simple web view and not like a custom Odoo application? Is because every database can be different. Again, we cannot have a code base that is the same for everybody. Or you rewrite Odoo in Swift and Kotlin to behave in the same way, which might be maybe triple the work. So yeah. Then there is another question. I want to override that function using patch. I think it's referring to the same thing as before about the export.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to like find the documentation for patch, but I don't exactly remember where it is. You could look into the documentation and find it, I guess. But basically, what you have to do, so what patch actually uses, so the patch function, not that one, but this one. So as I said before, it's like sort of a magic tool that you can use to change the functionalities of anything that is exported. So we have exported this class assigned geolocation. So if you want to actually override, like basically patch this, what we should use is to pass into the patch the prototype of this class. So you don't actually want to patch the class, but the object that results from it. But for functions, because basically they're just functions, you pass the function itself. So in your example, if you had exported the, let's say, export like constant something, and that something is actually like an asynchronous function or even like a normal function that does something, you basically are going to import this, give it to the patch function, and the rest is obvious. So one last note I would say in this part is that before in Odoo, like 17, 16, you needed like a basically a sort of something here called Odoo module, if I'm not mistaken. So what that first line meant was to give Odoo basically an idea how to like which files it should actually take into account. But now in 18 they actually have removed that, so there is no need for it. So if you see in previous version or even existing code, if you see like there is something on the top of every file, but in 18 there isn't, that's the reason they changed it basically.
Then there's a couple of questions. What are the other information resources classes like standard widget props that you say are basic for an Odoo developer to know? Honestly, from my point of view, then Armin might have his own point of view, you don't really need to know every specific functionality and everything inside of Odoo. The best skill that you can have as an Odoo developer is being able to navigate through the code. When I did the example 14 hours ago, I didn't do it from scratch, knowing, I need to use the standard widget props, need to add it there. I checked the example, maybe, you need to understand, okay, where can I see it? You have to remember a couple of concepts. I know that I might find that kind of function, that kind of classes, using maybe registry view, just to find examples, and then from there I can adapt myself. Obviously, if there's not something in the code base, it might be more complex, but I think that just reading the code, knowing where to find stuff is more important than remembering what standard widget props does. I don't remember it, and I didn't know it before doing the example yesterday. So I wouldn't say, oh, these are the things that you need to know. You need to know in Python inheritance, extensions, how compute, on change, write, create. All of that basic stuff works. Know a little bit of how to make it work. But then after that, you should be able to navigate through the code and understand how to find information more than knowing things by heart. What's your take on it?
No, yeah, that absolutely. Like as Emanuele put it, the most important thing for you is to use the existing Odoo code base. Now, in both ways. So it's not just as, let's extend the standard functionalities, but also what you need to think about is, okay, so I want to do something. It has been done before in Odoo standard. can I perhaps like use that in a way, maybe copy it, like change it around for my thing? Because usually the answer is yes, and you can actually, if you can find that thing in the code base, it will help you immensely. It will cut time, and you know that it works because it's obviously in the standard code base, so it's been extensively tested. So yeah, that's I would say the most important skill, aside obviously from the basics of the languages, and also how the frameworks work, is to be able to find the code that you could transform into the code that you will be using.
All right. From Michelle Strom, thank you for answering my question. I'm sorry to hear that the transformation document is unavailable. For those looking to upgrade Odoo and track changes between releases, I recommend using Open Upgrade. It's free to use and completely open source, developed by the ODU Community Association. Feel free to contact me if you need more information. Okay. The OCA, I mean, that's the, I think I really like the OCA because, it's the open community, Odoo community. I don't remember what O stands for in there, if it's open on Odoo community. I think Odoo Community Association. But it's a very lively community where you can find help for any question related to Odoo, find lots of modules for very specific scenarios. And I mean, it's open source. Use it with your Odoo. I honestly feel recommending it. Odoo itself works very closely with the OCA and and the partners. So use it.
So the chat has graciously helped us again with the patch function. So if you just say patch in the Odoo documentation, here is the actual the extensive documentation on patch. So first of all, it's something from the core web framework. So it's not part of OWL. As I said, OWL just a component system which allows you to bring your app to live. And so yeah, basically you can patch an object, you can patch a instance of a class. You can also patch a class, but I mean, probably that's not what you want. So as you can see here, this is not what you want. So this will patch the static properties. But what you want to do is actually patch the object itself.
Wanna break?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, then let's take a break.
All right. We'll be back in 5.
Yeah, we'll be back in 5.
3, 2, 1.
So we are back for the second part of the Odoo Insider tech session. Again, special event. Armin is here. I'm here, normally not here. Antoine is not here. We'll come back soon. We are gonna show something because I think that sometimes our ERP can be a little bit boring, don't you think so, Armin?
Well, it's better than the competitors because like at least we have some color in there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel that rigid, so I would say it's
But
pretty fine. So what I had in mind was we could do like a live coding of a popular game, Tic Tac Toe.
damn, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
instead of making like charts and like this and that, so let's maybe do like a code along.
Yeah. Do you really want to tell them what type of concept you're gonna face if you have it in mind, or we'll just go with the flow and explain the concepts as we go along, as you wish?
So before like creating, like what I want to do is like obviously two things we could do here. Either we change one of the existing things that we have, or what we could do is to create like a new module. So let's go with the new one and like take it step by step perhaps. So first of all, there is like a command in Odoo CLI. So if you look at the CLI, which is I believe in here, there should be something called scaffolding, which creates like a new add-on for you. However, because I already have the files here, what I'm just going to do is to copy one of these and then perhaps change it to my advantage. So I just copied that and I'm going to paste it in the project directory, which is the
Just a
root of
question,
my
sorry.
add-ons.
Can I load my React app in a view as a view, like we have a Kanban list view? Can you please guide on that? Actually, there's some examples. If you go in the Odoo documentation and you look for the dashboard example, it's the I think the second training about OWL. You'll find something kind of similar where you are creating a view from scratch. And then once you have the view, as we were showing before, you can load JavaScript using the same syntax as Armin showed before. And then it's basically a free-for-all. You can use your library, React, Vue, anything else, and then use it. Obviously, I would say try to leverage OWL as much as possible because you have that deep integration with Odoo that you might not have otherwise. But you can do it. You can also serve your React app as static content from a controller or something. So you can still.
So honestly, the way I would structure that is just a completely separate client that like interacts with Odoo's XML or JSON RPC, because I think like that would be like React on itself is quite a heavy library, and adding that into Odoo, I would say, is going to degrade performance to a level that you probably won't be comfortable with. But again, like do try it, and if it works for you, then great. But otherwise, I would say that it's best to just make it create like a separate React project, go into the documentation, and we also actually have we have the XML RPC. If you search for it, so here it is, like the external API. So we have also like XML RPC and JSON RPC. Now, if you don't see the JSON RPC here, our kind Emanuela actually did give a talk on it on OXP. So if you search for yes, so if you search for OXP JSON RPC, if I'm not mistaken, so yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So that's your talk basically that he talks about. Look at the handsome devil. Yeah. Damn.
Now that I think about it, I was at the time I was also creating a small view app to go along with the JSON RPC example. In the end, I didn't use it because it was a little bit too much and cumbersome to display, but I did it. I didn't serve it from Odoo itself, something else, but I mean, you can. Odoo is on it by itself also a web server, so you can. Of course.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So the point here is that if you want to like use a completely different stack, you don't want to get into Odoo's ecosystem. Basically, you need to like quickly whip up something that works with your existing Odoo database, whether it's like an Odoo online or is it SH or if it's on premise, it doesn't really matter. You can actually use the RPC to like interact with Odoo basically. So yeah, that's what I would say you could do there. Any other questions or concerns?
We have a funny question, and
sure.
I think we could answer it. It's what's Odoo?
That's true.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
That's a weird.
I've been asking myself that question for like 4 years and a half. I have no idea. I think it gives me food.
Maybe. How about the car and the other stuff? No?
I don't know.
Maybe. Okay, so
are you Odoo? Are you the guy in the yellow? No, I'm not Odoo.
But I am.
I know.
Like, because I wrote down.
Okay. Sorry, no.
Chat, so
Okay.
Odoo is an entity, multiple.
It's an omnipotent god from another dimension that comes and gives us the fabulous ERP that we have.
All right.
So, what we were going to do was to maybe shake things up a bit, and instead of creating like something that I don't know, makes it like charts and fields, stuff like that, maybe create a game.
Yeah.
So, what I did right now is instead of like trying to like create all the files myself, I want to copy an existing like our graph example and then show it like either in place of the graph, like uninstall that module and show it in that in the place of the graph. I want to show like a grid of 3 by 3 and to like allow us to play Tic Tac Toe on the sale order. Now that might be a weird idea, but what if your sailor, like the salesperson, is calling someone and is getting bored and like, okay, what to do? Like, just play Tic Tac Toe. So that's basically the idea. So I'm going to call it Odoo Tic Tac Toe, the directory. So to adhere to our naming convention, in the name, let's call it Tic Tac Toe to make it easier to find. Yep. So it's on. So the versioning, as you see here, so these two versions actually refer to the version of Odoo, which is 18.0 in our case. And here you have the version of our module, which I'm going to change to 1.0 instead of 0.01. Yeah. So we
use the, I think it's called semantic versioning, where you have like major, minor, and fixes.
Yes. Yeah. So Odoo uses exactly only the major and minor, but for the module we use this. So if we do like a quick patch, it's usually the patch version. Then if there's like a feature, minor, if like we're doing like a new phase or something, maybe the major version will change. But the only place that actually it comes to play is when you're upgrading your existing module, maybe you have some migrations, this would allow, like if you deploy on the same instance, it will allow to upgrade it automatically if you have bumped the version. If you don't, then it has to be done manually. So if you forgot it, no worries.
Talking about depends, what can you tell me? Why is it important to put everything that I depend on, or what do I need to put there?
Sure. So dependencies are basically the modules that you have to that you're using somehow. So let's say here we're extending the existing sale order form. So I want to have access to the sale order to be able to change it. So what I do is import sale management, and then that Odoo allows me to actually have access to all the models, all the views, the rules, security, whatever there is there, I can access. So if I remove this, I will no longer be able to access those modules or views. Next up, we have data, which are your probably views, your static like files that define security, things like that. So here we just have the view.
As a side note, in the LinkedIn post where we discuss about the next Odoo Insider sessions, you will also find a link where where you can find the previous Odoo Insider sessions. So, for example, there was a session a couple of months ago where Antoine and I went over the creation of a module from scratch, a very simple one, and where we put some details on how to build it. So now maybe we can also speed up, have a look at that, and I mean, we are self-plugging ourselves, but yeah, but have a look at that, because that's where you find maybe the most basic version of this one, because this is more advanced than that scenario, but so that Armin doesn't have to lose a lot of time trying to explain this stuff. I don't remember if it was in September or October. Repeating. Yeah, dev tech session. Yeah, I think that Antoine made a post. Yeah, I'm repeating what Arthur is saying because there was someone that said to repeat your things. Yeah, but yeah, I think it was in September. There was a post from Antoine Nouvel where he said it. I will find it also after if not needed. But you just find it in the tech dev session or on the replay Excel spreadsheet, and you will find it. Sorry, Armin.
No, it's okay. Fine. So now that we have our description and the data and the pens, then I want to change this to reflect the new module. So I've changed the name of the module to Odoo underscore Tic Tac Toe. So now I have to give it the exact name that I want, that I've given my module here as well. So what this manifest does is it imports this view here, sale order views, and also this static, everything in the static source components, which are these two files, the template and also the JS file. So I'm going to rename these as well to perhaps, let's say, Tic Tac Toe, and also this one. All right. So what we have here now is a lot of things that we probably won't be needing. Yeah. So I'm going to clean this up a bit. So I don't need the random number generator which colors the we also do not require so for example the template, let's change our template now. So the template name is sale order graph order, but now, as you might have guessed it, it's Odoo Tic Tac Toe and then Tic Tac Toe. So that's basically my template, and then I'm going to copy this. Probably I won't be needing these guys anytime soon. Let's just put something here that gives us an idea whether it's been successfully loaded in the front end. Mm-hmm. So yeah, first let's change the template to this. Then the same name of the template will be given to the class that is our component as well. Props I'm not going to touch because I it's okay. We can use the standard things there as well, even though we might not even use them. In the setup, I'm not going to use any of these, and also I won't have an asynchronous function to render anything because all those things I'm going to do myself. So I've got stripped this down to the basic setup, static, template, and props, and the rest. Honestly, I'm not a fan of this syntax, to be honest. So
Why not?
I don't like it. I prefer to do it like this. So
Wow. But then you cannot extend it. Ah no, well you can get it from the registry. Okay.
yes.
Smart
So
defense.
so what we could do is also name it, give it a name. So Tic Tac Toe. Nothing happens in the setup yet. None of this matter. And then in the views, we have to export the correct widget, which is Tic Tac Toe now. So it will be it will add it in exactly in the same place. So let's perhaps restart our server. So what I've done now is that on an existing Odoo database, I've added a new module.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the challenge that there is here is that we are not entirely, like Odoo is not aware that this file has been added there. So first, what we have to do is to go into the apps and then try to find our module. So if I go here and search for Odoo underscore, well, there are a bunch of stuff here, but specifically it's Odoo Tic Tac Toe. You can see that it does not find it. So what I have to do is to update my apps list, which basically updates what modules are inside the add-ons directory. So if you add a new module, don't forget to always update your apps list to actually be able to see it. So once this actually finishes, because right now it's like mapping a tree of all the add-ons and like their dependencies, and then it's trying to give me the freshest version of my add-ons list. So I believe it should be completed. But did I even click it? Okay, yeah. So let's refresh and try again. Otherwise, we can try updating apps list again in case I've made a mistake.
You might need to restart the server if needed, but
Yeah, we can do that as well. So
okay, no.
that's actually there, yes. So yeah, so now I'm gonna activate it and see whether I get any errors. So now it's sort of like parsing my code to see if there are any errors, and there are none because like it's an empty thing.
Yep.
So if I go into the sales now, in the sales form, I see that this is shown here, which is basically what I've set in the template to show it. So that I did that to just make sure, like a sanity check, to make sure that I've imported everything correctly. So far, so good.
Yeah, and also it's cool because we see that it's just after the graph, because we installed first the graph and then this one.
Yes, that's a very good point. So first we install the graph, and as you can see in the view itself, we have we are doing the exactly like inserting the exact same place that the graph was inserted before. So Odoo basically does like a tree here and say, okay, so first I'm going to add this and then I'm going to add this, and those two elements are now combined in a single uniform view, which shows the graph and then our tic-tac-toe element, which for now only has this. So for a tic-tac-toe game, we obviously need a grid of 3 by 3. So what we have here is that we want to say, let's say this dot board. Hopefully I did not misspell this. It's a bit farther from
Yeah.
So this dot board, and then we want like a grid of 3 like zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros. But I'm a bit lazy. I'm not going to do 3 zeros. So I'm going to just use the array length 3. I'm going to fill that with an empty string, because basically I want to say, okay, right now it's empty, you can use it. So I'm going to do it 3 more times. The reason I did not do array fills 3 and then fill the array with the array, you might try it yourself and see the results later, but basically it's JavaScript memory management, so That's why we can do it like this. Now, right now, what I did with this board is that I've created like an array here. And this array, if you have like programming experience, you would know that arrays are not like in a single memory, single space in the memory, but rather like we can have many elements throughout the RAM. So what happens is that this actually is a pointer to the place that says, oh, okay, so this starts here. Now, if we change anything further down the line, like AKA inside the array, we wouldn't know that it actually has changed. So that's why we can use something called use state. So use state, what it does, it gives, which is again part of OWL, it gives us a proxy object which is reactive. So whenever I change something inside my array, it actually will alert me, okay, this changed, and the views that I've subscribed to that, so they're showing basically the board, they will get refreshed automatically. So I don't have to like every time press F5, which in our case, because we're not saving anything inside Odoo, we just want to do it like on the browser itself, it's going to go away anyways. So that's our board, which is the state of that. Then I need to know who the current player is. So I have the current player as, let's say, X. Now, obviously, what I can do is to hold my players here, say, let's say, for example, but not static, but rather, for example, this dot player one. Maybe I want to change it later. So let's say I'm the player one, and player two is Emanuele. So now we have player 1 and 2, and the current player is obviously me.
Yeah.
I hope that was obvious. So you have the current player, and obviously this again has a winner. So I'm gonna go with like winner equals no one for now, because nobody has one. So right now I'm done with my state. Now you might ask, why have I not done the use state with these? So what happened there? What do you think, Emanuele? Why didn't I use that there?
Because we're not changing them, I guess. Or is there, I mean, player one, player two, current player might change,
Yeah.
but we don't, I guess that we will not update the view accordingly. Like player one and
That could be one.
what
Yes. So if you, so yeah, that could be one note. But when we go forward, I will let you know why I didn't use state here, but did here. It also like pertains to the whole memory management that I just discussed. But so now what I need is a play method. So I want to know which column and which row are you going to play. So the way I've structured this is that these are the three, this is the first column, and this is the second column, this is the third. So if I say I want to play, let's say, the first cell, like click there, so that would be like 0, 0. So the column would be 0. First I choose the, first I choose the row, and then I choose the column. Of course, the order doesn't matter, but the way we picture it, I guess, would make it easier to have it in order. So if I play something, as long as there are no winners, so winner isn't, so winner as long as, so if winner is actually not this, so we have assigned someone as the winner, I actually don't want to do anything. So I'm going to return false, nothing. Then I want to actually play. So this dot board row, and then column, and then I'm gonna put it as this dot current player. So if somebody plays, I actually have to switch up the players. So I'm gonna say this dot current player equals. So how should we structure this? If the current player is player 1, then the next turn should be player 2, right? Otherwise, we have player 1. So if it's player 1, switch to player 2. If it's player 2, switch to player 1. So this should give us a basic way to actually play. So let's try this out. So you can notice that I did not restart my server yet. Let's see if this actually works. So I'm just gonna refresh it. Now, because I'm using something in the Odoo bin CLI, I mean, I'm not using it now, but if you're using dev XML, it would be able to actually make your, so actually, no, I did not change my template. So I did not change my template yet. Let's go back to our template. So what do I want to show now? I want to show my board, and I also want to show my winner, obviously.
Yep.
We need to know who wins. So what we're going to do is to have like a grid, and the way we can do grids is using the for each loop. So we have T for each board, which is, as you can see, is our board. So do notice that I did not use this keyword, because in owl's components and in the template, you actually bring this into context. So anything that's inside this, you will have access to it here as well. So you have T for each board, T as, so first I have the rows, and then I'm gonna iterate over the columns one by one. So I have the rows, and then I have the same thing for the columns.
Do you mind if I answer a question?
No?
So from Michel Strom, I'm curious about how you, Armin and Emanuele, set up your Odoo development environments. Are you using Windows, macOS, Debian, Ubuntu as your operating system? I also noticed that the code editor in this talk is Visual Studio. Did you install Odoo locally on your laptop or computer? Are you using pgadmin 4 to access the PostgreSQL database? And are there any other tool you use for development? A complete list of development tools would be great to share so we can understand what you both use. I will start with mine. I think it's a very general answer. So first of all, I am using personally macOS.
Apple fanboy?
I'm not an Apple fanboy, but okay.
Okay.
But Armin, I think, is using Ubuntu.
Yes.
Or there's some people that use Fedora. We have some other people that use Arch Linux. Some other people use Windows. You can use every operating system where you can install Python basically and PostgreSQL. So nothing fancy there. And as a code editor, we both use Visual Studio Code. That's just a matter of preference. I think that, you know, when you start working at Odoo, maybe you get attached to that. Maybe your coach was using a specific tool. Maybe you saw someone using that code editor and you start using that. I think that a couple of months ago, I kind of answered the same question. And I was, at that time, I said that we have like kind of two big factions of people using Visual Studio or PyCharm. They kind of trash talk each other because
true.
you know, why would you use PyCharm? And then you have some people that use Vim, NeoVim, or any Emacs, or any of those fancy code editors. But yeah, there's the fact that we don't recommend a specific visual code editor is because you can use whatever you want, and we don't want maybe to kind of skew you to use one or another. You can do whatever you want. If you want to use Notepad++, you can. If you want to start your Odoo from the terminal, you can, because Odoo will work regardless. If you want to use Docker, use Docker. I was using Docker for some time to do my testing. Then I went back to just have like kind of bare metal on my computer. And then do we test locally? Yes, it's much easier to test locally. For us, nobody stops you from doing it in a server that you connect to, virtual machine. You can use every type of service that you want. And about the tool that we use to connect to PostgreSQL, I just go with the basic client, which is PSQL. Some people might use pgadmin, pgbadger. There's plenty. No, not pgbadger. Sorry, pgbeaver. Pgbadger is to check the logs. Beaver, no, dbeaver, sorry. dbeaver is a client that you can use. It's open source that can do the same. But I personally use PSQL as a client. I don't know what you use, Armin. I think you do it as well.
So yeah, I use PSQL because I'm like more comfortable in the CLI. Just go inside PSQL and just raw SQL away. But absolutely can use like mappers that like give you like a visualization of your database. I don't recommend it because like we have a lot of models that you probably don't even want to look at. Of course, you can then limit stuff there to like specific tables and then just see how those tables are interconnected, which answers, I guess, a previous question.
Yeah.
But for me, first of all, I would say use Ubuntu if you're on Windows, like at home. I have like a PC, so I'm having a gaming PC, and then there I use WSL2.
Yeah.
So Windows Subsystems for Linux, which is also Ubuntu's kernel. And the reason I would say is that our servers are Ubuntu, and it's best to use the same kind of stack, like a Unix-based operating system. You will have, like, if you encounter something on Windows, it's very hard to actually find someone who can help you with that, or a resource to help you with that. So I would say stick to a Unix-based operating system for development.
Yeah. Then there was another question from Syed, where he asked, please tell me how to use Odoo when downloaded and open in VS Code editor, and then how to run the software. I just linked the repository where we put all the code that we write here, and in that case, I put a VS Code template folder. To use it, you need to remove the dash template. Have a look at there. Have a look at the previous talk where I was going to, with Antoine Nouvel, explain everything about this. And yeah, but using this folder, you can find most of the things. It's obviously opinionated, I would say, because I'm using VS Code. I'm using a specific way of running Odoo. You don't have to do it the same, but you can have a jump start with that.
Well, some people say that PyCharm, the good thing with PyCharm is that it's plug and play. So you install the extension, which is paid for. The PyCharm itself is paid. So you're paying for less hassle. But of course, VS Code has more extensibility, whereas you can set it up the way you want. Lots of extensions. So I would say I prefer VS Code. But do not forget to install the Odoo ID extension. We're also working on a internal VS Code language server. Of course, I don't know if they can port it to other IDs as well or not, but for now they're writing in Rust. The project, I would say, is going very well.
Yep.
And when that's out, we can just all switch to that, hopefully one day. All right, so what we did now is we wanted to show like a grid that shows our board. So I want a bunch of buttons to show me basically the places that I can click on. Now, one thing that you can see here makes the job of developers easier, or even if you are just using Odoo, it might be nice to look at the technical details to see what the error actually says. So in our case, T for each, which also exists in the views, in like the website templates. On the website side, it actually does not require a T key. However, on our side, which is OWL, you actually do need that. I believe React is the same. So if you have like a bunch of stuff, you're doing like a for loop, you have to give each element a key in order for the framework to actually be able to know that, it's like a grid of components and actually be able to interact with them. So now...
Can I, sorry,
sure.
Sorry, again, Syed that is asking, is there any guide? Kindly give me that guide link about for example, how to start Odoo using VS Code. Probably Google search will answer your question. I would really recommend first try to follow the the Odoo tutorial. And because in that case, they explain to you how do you set up the local environment, what do I need to do, how do I start to do in an empty database. Follow that, and I guess that 90% of your question will be solved. Once you understand that, you can then refine your skills, maybe using some debugger like VS Code and attach it to your instance. But first, try to understand that. Once you get the basic, it's much easier. And if you really want to start using VS Code, you can probably find some tutorials on Google. Not the answer that you were looking for. I'm not aware of any part of the documentation where we say use VS Code, because we wouldn't do it, because it's something that we decided to use. Probably R&D doesn't use it. Probably someone else use it. It's very opinionated, so no documentation about that.
Yep.
Just guys, so I have your link, Emmanuel. What about you? Do you have a LinkedIn maybe?
They're asking if Armin has a LinkedIn. It doesn't.
I'm gonna share only yours, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I have a LinkedIn, but I've like deactivated because all the unsolicited posts and messages. But I will activate it after this, and we'll send you the link.
All right, amazing.
All right. So where were we? We are here. So what I'm gonna do is now go back into our apps and uninstall sale order chart, because I don't want that to give us any grief. Like I want some space there to actually play my Tic Tac Toe. So let's go into here and then log in again for some reason. Why not? And then in the apps, I'm gonna look for sale order chart, I believe. Or was it not chart? What was it called? It was called sale order graph, not chart. Okay. So sale order graph. So that pie chart is technically a chart, not a graph.
That's
fine.
true. That's true.
But that's okay.
You're technically correct.
Well, I'm a technical person. So,
Yes, exactly.
so yeah, we're uninstalling the graph to make way for the new Tic Tac Toe component. Let's see if we have any errors or there are any issues. So now we can see a white screen, which means that we have gone wrong somewhere. So let's see, look at the console.
Can you zoom in maybe for the
I'm not entirely sure if okay, I can. All right, that's very nice. So this is very important to always look in the logs to see what could the possible cause be. Now it's not always a very friendly thing. You won't always see a friendly thing here. That gives you okay, that's actually the thing. But what I'm going to do is go into my view maybe, and then comment this out.
Yeah, can you try to do TS instead of T out?
Why?
Because I had the same issue yesterday, and
Really?
yeah, I think you need to
out works actually.
yeah, but you need to convert it to, I guess, to row something HTML element. But I don't remember. But I had some
99% sure
probably.
that TS works, T out works. But all right, let's go with Emanuela's suggestion.
I mean, we can see, or maybe we made a
Horrible mistake.
yeah, or maybe
Or maybe you were right. So, Emanuela, as always, was right.
but it's not the type of view that I expect. Did we already do the
what?
the loop for the rows?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So we did the so yeah, here we have we're looping through this,
okay.
and then we're looping through each. So we're still looping through board, which is wrong. We should actually be rowing through rows, and then columns. Now, obviously, I want to use Odoo uses Bootstrap. If you have maybe not noticed, but we can actually use anything that Bootstrap has. So, for example, Bootstrap has this nice row element, which I'm going to utilize to display my rows, and then I'm going to use div class column, maybe large 3 maybe. So in Bootstrap's grid system, we have like 12 kind of like places. And if we want to have 3, we could, I guess, go with 4, so that it takes up the whole takes up the whole 12 slots, I would say. So we have that, and then let's see if that changed something. All right, that's looks kind of correct. But what happens is that our buttons don't actually have a well, anything inside. So it's going to show it like that. So what I'm going to do is to give my row a fixed height, right? So a height of, let's say, 150 pixels. Is that nice? I don't know. Let's see how that changes it. It doesn't. Did I make a mistake? Okay. Let's also add, I guess, some margin underneath to see if
I don't know if you maybe
actually
need
breaks.
the
I'm sorry?
semicolon after the pixel, but I don't think so.
That's what I thought, but I'm not entirely sure about that.
I see that here you added the class at the button level, and that because I think that the div grows as much as the content, and in your example you
Okay.
I don't know if that's the
That is the issue actually. So if you check in the inspect element,
now it's a little bit tricky.
why?
I don't know, because like
Too big? So you can see the buttons are actually, so the buttons, so that's the column. That's how much my column is actually has a space, and those are my rows. However, my buttons are not populating all the way. So let's also give the buttons some class as well. So I'm going to use width 100 from Bootstrap again, and also H100 from, you guessed it, Bootstrap again. But also I want my rows to have, I guess that should work, because we checked on the rows were already grown to the size that they should have, and then yes, we have what we need. Now this is a bit, I would say,
overkill.
Yes. So maybe reduce it to 50 perhaps. Hopefully it's a bit more.
Maybe
the columns?
Yeah, or the buttons themselves.
Okay, why is it column dash?
Yeah, LG4 makes sense because there is 3 columns.
Yeah, but
You want to make them very small.
what if we insert it inside a tab? Because I can see that it's very hard to show them there. I think it would be easier to show them. So let's say I want to add my thing here inside the tab. So as you can see, it's very hard to show it here. So I want to add, so you see I bring it here and it shows there. So I'm gonna put it after this one. So what I could do is go inside my view here. So what I know from a view order form, one thing is I could go there and look at its view definition. So this is the view definition of here. So if I scroll down, I can see that there is a group sale header, there is a notebook here, and the notebook has pages. So the first page is order line. So if I insert a page inside the notebook, which is what we call this area over here, I can actually add my own tab here. So instead of inserting something here where it's underneath this, I'm going to change this to notebook, because I am sure that there is a single notebook element, and if I want, I can pick the inherited view and I can see that it's here. So this would add effectively a page inside the notebook and then show my widget inside that. So if I refresh the page, I should see I have not defined a page, unfortunately, so let's define that as well. So the page name doesn't matter to me, but the string, I want to say play now.
So that your sales people will not be bothered while creating quotations.
Yes, exactly. This is all to improve efficiency around the office. That's my master plan. Yes. Gamification, exactly. So let's do it again. And here now we should have our nice, beautiful thing. So let's actually give it a bit more here. Let's give it a bit more to the buttons. We could give them maybe some space. So so this is actually in the y-axis, which is correct. How about some?
We have 11 minutes.
Damn, that's
Will
tight.
you
That's
be
gonna be
able to-
cutting. I'm not sure if I can be. I will be able to finish it in time. But yeah.
If it's 5 minutes more, it's fine.
Okay. That's nice. So now I have the grid, button grid. I'm gonna pick up the pace. So what I want now is when I click something, I want to call play. So I'm gonna use what we saw before on click, which is T on click. You can see it was auto-completed for me thanks to the IDE extension. So I don't want actually the like the event of the button itself. I'm just going to call play with the row index and the column index. And I don't know if you noticed, row and column index are actually again like a magical thing for Tiki or like in general, that inside the loop you can say, okay, so I'm gonna loop through the board for the rows, but actually I want the index as well. That's how you can get the index. So
Should it be this.play or just play?
so let's actually try that. That's actually very nice. So if I go here, I should be able to see that this should give me an error. And the reason is play actually is like undefined. So what I'm gonna do is bind that to this.play. And let's refresh again. And that there you should see us playing.
And it's working perfectly.
It's working perfect. So what happened was that I had here without this, I was just calling play without context. So there was when inside the play, it was looking at if this that winner. There was no this. So that's why it said winner is not defined. So one other thing I want to do here, let's say I want to check. Let's say if we can speed run this. So I want to check winner, and I'm gonna pass the player in. So in Tic Tac Toe, we have obviously winner condition is like we get the same row, we get like the same column or like the diagonals. So first, the easy one is if we can find the player, one of our player is the winner. So the first is to see like the rows, right? So full row would be an array.
Wanna maybe get the code from your example?
Okay.
Just to make it
Speed
faster.
things up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's copy pasta, I guess.
Yes. Just to make it faster, just to show
That's
you
okay.
more.
Yeah.
I mean, the logic is check if the player
Yeah,
passes a function.
it's basically not even Odoo, like just basic programming,
Yeah.
I would say. So I'm going to cheat here a bit and do it from here, and then okay. So what I do basically is to check for a player and say, okay, so a full row is a player, and then I'm using something called r equal, because in JavaScript, comparison between arrays are weird, again because of memory management stuff. So what we do is use this constant here. So I have like a function here. I've not exported it. I'm just using it inside this file. So I'm using r equal underscore r equal, and then I'm going to say if there is like in this board, if I have like a full row with my name, and then I win. Then we check for, then here I'm checking for whether we have like a column that makes us the winner. Then we have two checks for diagonals, one for this diagonal and another for that one. And that basically gives us whether we have a winner or not. And this should also puts us as so this basically actually returns us a true or false value based on whether we have won or not. So we have played now. We have switched the player. Then we're going to check whether I've won. So I'm gonna check winner this dot player 1. So if the player 1 wins, and else if this dot check this dot player 2. So we have checks in place for player 1 and player 2 winning. So what should happen is that if that's the case, then we are going to check, we're going to say this dot winner is this dot player 1, and otherwise the winner is player 2. Anything I'm missing?
No, no.
Or any
No,
questions?
I just wanted to add something.
Sure.
That obviously this is an example that kind of seems abstract from Odoo, but if we wanted to, we could assign some specific action every time we click. Like we could have said that every time you click and Armin wins, a sale order is cancelled, or something like that. Like and you won. Obviously, you won.
I mean, that was pretty obvious.
But
So what I want to be able to do is to play a game with Emanuele now. So let's say if we have won and we're trying to play again, we're going to empty out the winner, and also so that we don't have to restart. And then we also have to reinstantiate basically the board. So now I'm going to give this value over there. Boom. Let's see if that works. So if we have a winner now, it's going to reset the board on its own. So let's try it out. So I have this, that. So it resets the board when the winner is. So would you like to play?
you will win.
All right, let's see. I don't think so.
There's a question first. I'm with Emanuele. I switched to macOS. Steve Jobs announced the switch to Intel processors in 2005, and I bought my first Intel iMac in 2007. You could run both Windows and macOS on the same computer, which was the main reason I switched. I needed Windows because back then all our clients used Windows. For the Odoo server operating system, we use Debian rather than Ubuntu, as we prefer to stick with the original. To access PostgreSQL database, we use pgadmin for web version. For editing the code, we use the simple editor Atom. Okay, yeah, it was not a question, sorry. I read it, it was just, but yeah, actually, I was using Atom at some point, but not anymore, yeah, but for like a couple of, 1 year, during university, I don't know. But yeah. Well, if you have any, I don't know, anything to share about the your setup, tell us. We are very curious. And yes, indeed, Odoo is by default based on Debian. Yeah.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
all right. Let's see.
Let's see. Now, I'm gonna
The good strategy of
let's play now from the fresh board. All right, let's see it. That's okay, let's go. Oh, come on. Let's see.
What happens if there's no winner at the end of the game?
Well, we'll see, I guess.
Well, yes. I'm just playing defensively.
I mean,
all right, so that's
well, that's a try.
That's
Nice,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody
maybe
wins today, I guess.
Nobody wins, but we have maybe time for some extra questions.
Or maybe everybody wins.
Or everybody wins. No winner, everybody's a winner.
That's true.
Yes. Can you share config file to build the project on VS Code? I already shared it on LinkedIn, and I will. Arthur might send it to you on Twitch, I guess. But as I was saying, it's not like plug and play. Have a look, try to understand it, and then you can use it.
So there is actually
yes, that one.
Yeah, that's the correct one. So there's actually another third-party tool some of our colleagues have developed. So it's not part of Odoo stack, but you could look into it.
It's open source, right? Like
it is open source. So we have it's called ODEV. So it's like Odoo-ODEV. Again, like this is not affiliated with Odoo whatsoever. It's just Odoo ODEV means like, okay, this tool is for Odoo. So it's actually, I would say, a very great tool you could use to If you like actually learn how to use it, there are a bunch of plugins, and there's like obviously you can use the help of the tool itself to manage your Odoo instances. It also has a ODU like code extension, which allows you to make like the configuration that you just said. It's going to automatically create the configuration for you for the database that you have selected. So you could look into this one to make it easier on yourself to work with Odoo.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Any other question maybe, or
Just hit 100 messages today. That's it.
that's great. Okay, so lots of engagement. Well, we hope we were able to answer everybody, to show you something. Might not look like super useful, but it's a start. Like you can play around with the idea. Like you can have the example about the location, the graph pie chart,
Yes.
Tic Tac Toe, just to add some interaction on your views that are not part of the standard. Maybe in the future we will reiterate over some concepts, but yeah, I think this could be a wrap.
Yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.